Okay, let's watch this video. The fuck's he talking about? Like, seriously, have you been sniffing glue? Or did your mom just let you eat paint flakes for your childhood breakfast? Hey everybody, Rock here. I just found this guy named Will's Easy Guitar. Do not subscribe to this asshat. Mr. Will's Easy Guitar, I am going to call you out on every bit of shit you have spewed thus far. I've watched 2 of your videos. The tone wood thing and your neck construction thing. You're pulling so much shit out your ass, people might actually think that they're fucking dildos. Like, seriously, man. Alright, first things first. Different woods do affect the tone. If you don't believe me, you're a fucking idiot, and get the fuck out of my house. Crom's balls, man. I swear, every studio engineer will slap you. Glenn Flecker would probably punch you in the face because you have no idea what the fuck you're talking about. First off, I'd like to express my point. I mentioned this in a comment on that same video. And it will prove everything I need to justify right now. You look at a Stradivarius violin, and you build an exact replica from wood from a modern tree. Same species. They're going to sound similar, but the Stradivarius is going to sound a lot nicer. And I will tell you why. The Younger Dryas, the little ice age that occurred during the time in which the Stradivarius violin was constructed, which was about 200-300 years ago, the Baroque period in music. Now, the reason why that's important, this is a weather event that shortened the growing season of the trees. So you had these very, very closely packed tree rings, which meant the wood grain was a lot tighter, which meant you had so much more sustain, which gave the Stradivarius one of its most signature features. They have been testing these things with the latest and greatest technology to try and unlock these secrets, and they have come up with this. So if you don't think wood affects the tone, you are a fucking moron! Next up, the address of cost. Yes, the ebony and corina is expensive, and yes, they are good tone woods. However, you don't see them anymore because that tone, not only because the woods are extremely, prohibitively expensive. I mean, I've seen naturally growing ebony, like a cross-section. You're getting it at the most a tree ring that big, barely enough for a fretboard. Well, I should say barely enough for 20, if you're cutting it very well and very closely, like to get the maximum amount of wood out of it. You might have enough for a neck. Don't know why you would ever want an ebony neck. But yeah, you can't build a body out of ebony. Well, you can, but you're going to laminate the crap out of it. You are a fucking moron if you don't understand the principle of sonic vibrations and sound wave theory. Simply put, you drop a pebble in a pond, it's going to create ripples. Anything that's in that pond, in that fluid body, is going to distort those ripples or change the way they move. How should I continue with this? For example, a solid neck will have a little more sustain than a glue joint headstock neck. I've noticed that for a fact. In fact, let me just check real quick. My Gibson LPJ 2013 model has a solid neck as compared to my Washburn V-Class, which has a glue joint neck. And even though the neck or bridge pickup is a little weaker because it's overwound at lower gains, it has more distortion. I've noticed that. So when you get a glue joint neck, it tends to block the sound waves because it changes the way it moves. It bounces it back prematurely before it gets all the way to the end of the headstock. The entire body vibrates slightly, but it affects the characteristics of the tone. Example: if you have the same guitars made with the same paint, same wood, same pickups, same hardware, same everything, same type of strings, they're still going to sound minutely different. I say minutely because from one model to the next, there's a very small variation if it's like a factory model. Like if I were to get a carbon copy, another LPJ, the exact same style, it's going to sound very, very similar. But here again, it's still going to sound just a hair's breadth different because the tone of the wood changes the characteristics. A branch used for a neck versus a neck made from the trunk of the same tree are going to sound different because of the thickness and tightness of the wood grain. The trunk is going to have more wood grain because it's older. It's the older part of the tree, whereas a branch is a younger part of the tree. Therefore, the wood grain's a lot more spread out. Following along? Let's see. Pickups even will sound minutely different from Model 1A to Model 1B. For example, say a Pearly Gates bridge pickup A and Pearly Gates bridge pickup B are going to sound almost identical. Almost. It's going to be slight tonal variations because usually Pearly Gates are potted, if I'm not mistaken. So it could be up to the composition of the beeswaxed paraffin, or it could be up to the number of windings on the coil. Hell, even if they have the same number of windings, it's still going to sound a little different because the way the wire rounds or winds around the pickup. Even the magnets are going to change the tonal characteristics. That's why no two guitars are going to sound exactly alike. To an untrained ear, they will. But someone who has absolutely no fucking idea what they're talking about, they're just going to say, oh, it's a conspiracy theory type of shit. Now, as for the whole headstock thing, I've been getting to that. Now, I am of the opinion that your whole headstock gains a lot of vibrations just from the strings. And the type of hardware that you use, the type of equipment that's used on it, because I've seen some people use like rubber bands to stop high-end vibrations on the headstock. I've seen people use just simple bands. I've seen people just throw their strap on a string and tie that on to do two jobs at once. And that works okay. If that's the tone they're looking for, that's the tone they're looking for. What I'm getting at here is that you're saying that it creates friction. On cheap Chinese models, maybe. God, you're a fucking idiot. Do you not read Stuart McDonald? My fucking God, you are dense. I learned how to set up frets a few years ago. Or, not frets, nuts. Nuts a few years ago. You gotta curve it. That way there isn't any friction, you dumb fucktard! If you're buying guitars that are having that kind of friction problem, then you need to stop spending your money on pieces of crap and actually invest in a decent instrument. You're just trying to scare people to buy into your own guitars. Granted, not a half-bad marketing strategy, but at least put in some actual facts, you dumb fucktard. Crumbs balls, man. You make me go nuts here. Now, granted, I'm not Glenn Flicker, and I will give him a lot of credit because he's got 16 years of experience ahead of me. That's something I will never be able to get over it because he is that good, he's been doing it for that long, and he knows his shit. And if anyone, and I do mean anyone, can hear the difference between guitar A or LP A and LP B, it's going to be a studio engineer of his caliber and higher. So, you, sir, have just been shot down. Now, as far as the tuning trees, I do agree with you. The rollers, they are the best way to fly. But you don't want an extreme angle on the nut because that way it curves and bends and not gets pointed or bent. You want it to bend to the neck. You don't want to bend it so much that it doesn't unbend, because that's where you're going to break your string if you're doing that. God, you're an idiot. I knew that when I was building my first guitar in shop class, first year of high school, and I had no clue how to build a fucking guitar, you dumbass! Ugh. And yes, paint does affect the tone. Finish does affect it. If you don't believe me, ask any studio musician or any studio engineer. I apologize, fans. I am still getting over a small cold. Ask why Gibson actually makes studio guitars, like studio LPs, don't have a clear coat on them most of the time. It's because a clear coat changes the tone. You stupid motherfucker. Granted, paint only changes its only a tad bit, and wood grain filler does change it considerably. Well, relatively speaking, considerably more than, say, clear coat. Or paint, I mean. Ah, God. Got me so pissed off I can't even think straight. Where was I going with this? But yes, if you don't believe me, go on the forums. Find out for yourself. Or better yet, actually fucking play your guitar instead of talking smack about other companies. Crom's balls, man. Fucking die of an aneurysm because of this. Because of stupid motherfuckers. Thank you all for watching. If you don't believe me, that's your opinion. I'm entitled to say go fuck yourself, you're a dumb idiot, because I live in a free speech country. And if you do believe me, make sure to like, favorite, and subscribe for more ranty videos and guitar playing, because everyone loves a good guitar player. So, peace out. Subscribe.